welcome back to the show. We're going to be talking about the latest episode of Goblin Slayer. I really enjoy this anime. This episode 9, There and Back Again. Basically, the party discovers that the mirror from the last episode is actually a gate linking the sewers of Watertown. Basically, it's allowing goblins to enter. So they're just standing around looking at this gigantic, enormous mirror. And it's kind of ominous looking. It's pretty big, and it's not something they can just like easily kind of mess with. It's obviously somebody with some heavy duty horsepower put this thing up, or magic or something. It's kind of ominous. And eventually they're looking in and they're like touching it and everything. And it's like, I don't know if they're saying that this is like linked to another, like it's a teleportation device. Like it's like a teleporter to another goblin area or whatever, or if it's a goblin dimension. My personal opinion on this is it's a dimension. If they said that, I can't remember, but I'm kind of getting that feeling that it's like a like a Stargate-ish type thing to a like another goblin dimension or whatever. And evidently there's a buttload of them, and too bad they didn't have a nuke or something, like just send a nuke through that. Boom! Oh yeah, well, no more goblins. Huh? That's the end of the show. Like, or some kind of magic, like spirit bomb, like Dragon Ball Z style or something, Whatever. But anyway, yeah, and evidently this like other world or whatever, they got some technology going, and some kind of like they're trying to build up the world. Somebody, and they're figuring out that somebody is masterminding these guys and teaching them things, and because they're building boats. And they're using technology, and they're comparing notes, and they're getting more and more advanced, and that's the dangerous thing about goblins. Sure, they're not that dangerous by themselves, but when they organize and really start, they're sneaky little bastards. They will like literally come up with a plan to take you out by force, and just overwhelm you. And as we've seen in many of these episodes, they're not strong, but with enough of them, they will overwhelm you. So, or a town, or whatever, just from pure numbers. And of course, they're building boats and whatnot. They're really working on something. Something's hatching, and somebody's masterminding and guiding them to do some evil things. Well, anyway, they really starting to trying to take all this in, and before they can do that, and they're still looking at the mirror, trying to figure out what they're going to do about this thing. The high elf archer, with her good hearing, or elf like super hearing or whatever. I guess all elves have really good hearing, of course, because they got ears. She more or less warns them, hey, we're about to have company, and they all start figuring out, they want to reclaim the mirror because we in the last episode made a humongous explosion, so it echoed like all throughout this facility. And they're like, the goblins know we're here, so they know we're after the mirror. So they start working on a plan, this A-team-ish, like, like da, 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 da. They're working on a little plan, booby traps and whatnot, and little bunkers, and because they know they're about to be overwhelmed, and they're a little freaked out in this episode. You can tell, like, usually they're really a tough, team of warriors, but in this episode they are kind of like, hey, this is looking not too good, but the true warriors they are, they go and do their business. They're setting up their little bunkers, and they going along with their plan, and getting everything ready, and that's a nice thing to see. They really become a excellent goblin fighting team. They really work well together, and I just really enjoyed that about this episode. And they don't get in each other's way. They somebody comes up with a plan, they go through with it, they enact it, and then sure enough, here comes the goblins, and their plan works. They start taking them out, no problem. But just from the pure numbers, eventually they start to wear down. It's just there's so many of them, and they are literally come hauling in. I mean, they're just overwhelming them. They're good, strong warriors. They're good fighters, but just the pure numbers, and that's something the goblins are good at. They're just get you with overwhelming you with numbers. And eventually they come up with the idea to bring the house down on top of them, and literally they put the mirror over their head, like under. They all get under the mirror, and as the building's falling down, all the rubble that would have hit them is absorbed into the mirror, so they're protected by the mirror protecting them. But the goblins are all like they're all like crushed to death. It's like they're all taken out, they're dead. But the facility is destroyed. But the mirror, even though the facility, all the, which makes me think. I mean, I really thought about that when I was watching anime. All that rubble's going through like the mirror. Does that mean like on the other side that thing where they were looking at the scene where the goblins were sitting there building the boats? Does that mean it's out of the sky like boulders or like like hundreds of pounds of like boulders just came through and just like they were like, what the hell are they doing on the other side? What just happened? Like an earthquake? Like what? Just like out of the sky, like here comes all these boulders, like bye 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 bye, like trolls. I mean, and goblins running everywhere, like ah, like. I'm sorry. I don't know if anybody else was thinking that, but that entered my mind. Like, were they taking out, or were they just standing around? Like, look at that. Like those a-holes on the other side, they did it again. They're just messing with us. Like I don't know. It's just kind of funny. It's something I thought of. But yeah, the tunnel and everything's destroyed, but the mirror is fine. It doesn't seem to have received any damage. They're sitting there looking at it and trying to figure out what to do. Well, eventually they decide to, like we gotta do away with this thing. And I like the next scene that, sure enough, I've always kind of been suspicious that, and even the Goblin Slayer has kind of like always been suspicious that she was hiding something. And sure enough, when he confronts her, she sure enough was, and she she also confides in him a lot. She's truly, really. I don't know if it's love, or if it's just she's like a kindred spirit, a relationship with him, because she really. I guess she's made up her mind. She's kind of attracted to him, and she kind of understands on some level that he has went through the same trauma that she has, and she's attracted to that. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's him, or just the fact that like a kindred spirit thing, like you understand me, you get what I've went through, you of all people get me, and more or less the Goblin Slayer confronts her that sure enough, the Sword Maiden admits that the giant alligator was her familiar, that was guarding the sewers, and the mirror was placed by some cult demon worshippers who were already wiped out a long time ago by this hero. Even though the masterminds were taken out, the Sword Maiden delayed doing anything about the goblins because she really didn't want to, appear weak. Because she really has a lot of trauma still around these goblins. She really does not want to go around. I would be the same way if I was a girl and I got, all that done to me. Going around a goblin would not be my first move, or, I would severely think twice about it. Because like she said, she has nightmares and whatnot. And I guess they really had her for a long time. They were doing some, really horrific stuff to her, obviously, because she's blinded and whatnot. But I mean, not just that, just really, they really did a number on her. And because she secretly wanted other people to understand the cruelty of the goblins, which is kind of selfish on her part, but I understand. She's under a lot of trauma, and she wanted them to understand what the goblins are truly capable of, which that was really selfish. I really was kind of disappointed by that in her, but I can see both sides to it. I mean, I get it. She's traumatized, but that was still, in her somebody in her position, that was really selfish. That was just but I like Goblin Slayer. He really, he's not fazed by this. He gets it. She's traumatized. He can't save her from all the trauma she's went through. He really does nothing else he can do. He just really want to make any trouble for her. He just want to let her know, like, hey, I kind of like the fact that he said, "I will kill the goblins if you want me to kill some more goblins, I'll kill them for you, even if they're in your dreams." And that really got her, and that seemed to almost kind of alleviate her worries. Like just that last statement, just the fact that he was like, he really didn't like hold it against her. What she did was wrong, but he was like, all right, I'll kill the goblins for you all day long. Just point me in the right direction. I would even kill him in your dreams. He seen that she was deeply, horribly scarred and traumatized by these things. She was. I feel kind of feel sorry for her in some ways, but I was kind of disappointed. It was like, I get it. She's a traumatized character, and it's she's just sitting there kneeling down, like looking up at him, and kind of she's crying. She's like really horribly traumatized. I really can't fault her because I mean she has went through a lot, and these things like are her number one nightmare, her thing that really just, and they were literally right below her. So I mean, I got to give her a little bit, but then again, letting people get killed and experience that is kind of selfish. So no, I really can't because like why would you? If anything, she would want people not to go through that. I don't see her somebody going to that level just to like I want somebody else to experience. I'd be like somebody getting raped and saying like, you know what, I want you to get raped because I want you to feel like what I'm feeling, or you know what, I was on a house fire, so I'm going to burn down your house so you will feel what I felt. Hey, that scar, it looks just like mine. That burn, yeah, wow, you got third degree. Hey, woo, you feel my pain. So yeah, that's no, I really can't. I understand she's traumatized, but I really thought less of her after this episode. I really thought I thought less of her after this episode, but I get it. She's traumatized. She's uh, whatever. That's all I'm gonna say on that. It was just it ends with the episode. She's crying, and the rest of the gang, they're all like heading back to town, and they are cutting up. And I like the fact that he mentions the Goblin Slayer. He's getting more comfortable around this group, his posse, his gang here, and he more or less says like, "Hey, I'm gonna go make some ice cream," and they're all like, "Ice cream?" You're like, they kind of perk up, like, "What is that? I want some of that," and they're all getting giddy about it, and even the high elf, she's like, "And I can eat some ice cream," and they're like, "Whatever." I like that last scene where she's like, kind of getting embarrassed, like, "Yeah, I'll eat some ice cream." Like, knowing you could tell she really wants to eat this ice cream. Yeah, what girl doesn't like ice cream? What person doesn't like ice cream? Just about, but girls really like ice cream. I've noticed. Anyway, I really enjoyed this episode. Like I said, there was some disturbing things in this and some revelations, but overall, it was a really good episode. I'm really looking forward to the next episode, as I am with all these Goblin Slayer episodes. They don't disappoint. They're really good, and I enjoy them. Anyway, that's all for this episode. Please remember to subscribe to these episodes and or like these episodes. Anyway, that's all for now. Catch you next time.